Supposedly, Tony Khan is still rolling down the ramp following AEW Double or Nothing Memorial Day weekend a few weeks ago, as it is now mid-June, a little bit behind schedule. So I apologize, but we're going to just give so I can get, believe me, I've still been watching and all that, but, finding time to do this right now, just haven't had it, to say the least, but give a short, quick recap, so we'll see how long this video ends up being. I'm hoping less than 30 minutes, so we'll see, but you know how I am sometimes. I'll start rambling on about this or that, and then it, exceeds time, which we all got anyway. But anyways, no, of course, for AEW, I haven't live streamed a live watch-along reaction of any of their pay-per-views since World's End, which, yeah, it's been a while. It's been 6 months. That was, in between Christmas and New Year's, 2023, 2024. This past December. Since then, of course, with Dynamite, Rampage, Collision on TV, they've scaled back on their TV specials compared to what they, once were. But, no January, February pay-per-views. Even though they said at one point in time it was, going to be one pay-per-view a month. They sort of don't do that at the start of the year, but then they do pick up the pace, afterwards, because then Revolution was March. They added Dynasty in April. Of course, we just had Double or Nothing, Forbidden Doors coming up. They actually just announced Blood and Guts is returning. They'll have All In, they'll have All Out. We'll get into the fall, from Wrestle Dream to Full Gear to World's End, which is where I last left you, in which since then a lot has happened, no doubt about it. We're just going to get into, like I said, a short, quick recap so I can get back. Even with, my live play watch-along reactions, it's just scheduling-wise, like I said, timing just hasn't been there. Whether it's watching it live, whether it's watching it, later. So it goes back to, as I've stated the past few months, from attending WrestleMania to just once again doing other shit whenever these shows have been on. And the same thing is going to be the case this weekend for WWE Clash of Castle. So as I've mentioned before with that, we'll watch that at some point in time in the near future. Don't know exactly when. Didn't know exactly when for this. Was hoping, of course, to watch it live. That didn't, of course, happen. If it was going to be later on that night, following week, well, now it's been a few weeks, but I guess better late than never, as the saying goes. But yeah, all this is, hence black screen, just an audio only, live play-by-play, watch along. It's just going to be a recap. I'm just going to give you notes. I did watch the show, did watch all three shows, actually, that we're going to talk about. So, with that being said, just thanks for tuning in, and listening. Of course, thanks for the understanding. We'll get back into the groove, get back in the full swing of things shortly. It's just been hectic with this or that. And it's just, like I said, the timing. It's for the WWE shows overseas starting at, whatever time in the middle of the afternoon to, these 3 AEW shows, when they were, which Revolution was March 3rd, I do believe. Yeah. And then Dynasty was like 2 weeks after WrestleMania. So like a little over a month before Double or Nothing. Here we are a couple weeks after Double or Nothing, just to give you, of course, a timeline for what it's worth at this point. But yeah, of course, better late than never, but yeah. From not necessarily saying attending WrestleMania, screwed it up, but that's sort of where, shit started. Had a blast that weekend. Be sure to go check out those videos, of course. Thanks for tuning in to this. Because, see, once again, from that to just everything since then, high and low, few far, in between, just, yeah. Sometimes I guess you got to take a step back to take a step forward. And when it'll get back on track, probably, even though we'll probably take another steps back afterwards, like, because I'm also going to be attending SummerSlam. That's the other thing. So be sure to keep an eye out for videos from that show. Be sure to check out all, old videos on the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to subscribe. The spiel if, you tune in. So yeah, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Links in the description below. Thumbs up button, share, chat questions, comments, super chat, super sticker, super likes, super thanks. Always great for shit as well. But, yeah, better late than never once again. Get around to it. It's just, when I have talked about this in the past, when I'm talking about it now, even in the future, it's just a matter of when, because at this point in time, I don't know. As I didn't know then, still don't know now. Obviously, nothing's changed. But no, probably to answer your question of when gets back on track, will probably be Money in the Bank. We'll watch that live. Of course, Forbidden Doors the week before that, like 2 weeks from now, 2.5 weeks from now. So those will be in back-to-back weeks. 4th is in between. And then, yeah, SummerSlam will be at again. And then end of the fall, who knows, of course, football there is on the plate first for a appetizer, entree, and dessert over wrestling. But we'll get it done. That's all that matters at the end of the day. Doesn't matter how you got there, just as long as you got there and did what you needed to get done. So, yeah, all this is going to be is just a, like I said, short, quick recap over the past few months here in AEW, from Revolution to Dynasty to Double or Nothing. So just, of course, listen closely, because from one thing happening to something else happening, changes from this wrestler being the champ to somebody else. Like I said, a lot has happened. So I guess without further ado, I'll shut the hell up and we'll get the show on the road. But just as always, thanks for tuning in and listening. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, social media, links in the description below, thumbs up button, share, chat questions and comments, super chat, super sticker, super like, super thanks. Always really appreciated. So, like I said, as I've watched the AEW pay-per-views, just haven't live streamed them while they were live, hence this. Last time I left you with a live stream for AEW was AEW World's End, the first ever pay-per-view in that regard for that show. So be sure to check that out. But yeah, nothing in January, nothing in February. They had Revolution. Sting retired, had a farewell retirement match in the main event in the Greensboro Coliseum, where he made his mark back in the day. So on this show, before as Revolution this year was sandwiched in between two first-time pay-per-views, because then Dynasty was in April. And then we'll get to the 5-year anniversary, 5-year celebration of the company. And going into another Forbidden Door event here in a couple weeks, as mentioned. But on Revolution, there's officially 11 matches. 2 on the kickoff pre-show, the buy-in 0 hour, whatever they call it nowadays. But the TNT title was on the line. Christian Cage was champion at that point in time, and still was champion after the show, retaining over Daniel Garcia. Does anybody ever remember the banger Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson put on for the Continental Championship? Well, that's when that happened at Revolution. The Continental Championship in AEW was the AEW Continental Championship, the Ring of Honor World Championship, and the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Openweight Championship. And Eddie Kingston won, retaining, but since then has been injured and is on the shelf. So we'll get more into that a little bit later on. I remember this match, but I don't remember with what happened afterwards, who won it, if they, got the championship match that they were supposed to receive with the win in this All-Star Scramble match or not. Somebody would have to let me know. I can't recall if so. It probably did and just doesn't come to mind. But it was a All-Star Scramble match, is what they called it at least. As at Revolution, at what other pay-per-view they always do the ladder matches at. I think it was Double or Nothing, that's right. You had Wardlow, you had Jericho, you had Hobbs, you had Lance Archer, Hook, Brian Cage, Magnus, and Dante Martin, which talk about a group of, most of them big men, with a jobber and somebody who they're high on but they don't do shit with, and then a legend. But Wardlow ended up winning, and then in those type of matches they're supposed to get a championship match, receive one at least down the road, down the line. I can't remember if Wardlow got that or not. Somebody would have to fill me in, but he probably did. I just can't recall when it was. Okay, Orange Cassidy at this point in time was still the international champ, but lost to Roderick Strong. Keep that in mind, because we'll get more into that title in a little bit. Tag team match, just a basic 2-on-2 Blackpool Combat Club FTR tag team match that was one of the matches of the night, no doubt about it. You also had a tag team main event with Sting and his retirement match, which we'll get to. But yeah, Blackpool Combat Club, the BCC, beat FTR there. Toni Storm, been on a hell of a run. She, at that point in time, retained her AEW Women's World Championship over Deonna Purrazzo. Will Ospreay came into the company, beat Takeshita in a singles match at Revolution as well. Samoa Joe, for the last time on pay-per-view, retained his AEW World Heavyweight Championship. We'll get to Dynasty shortly, but he beat Hangman Adam Page, who I don't think we've seen since, if I'm not mistaken. And Isaiah Strickland in a triple threat match. Keep in mind, Joe and Swerve at Dynasty. And then, yeah, Revolution main event was Darby Allin teaming with Sting. They went all out with the entrances as they paid homage to his career. So they defeated the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, or Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, if you will, the EVPs of All Elite Wrestling. But it was a Tornado Tag Team match. From what I can recall, went to right around midnight, as most AEW pay-per-views do. But then they cut the feed. They didn't show us anything that he was going to say on the mic. They posted that online afterwards. No, but Sting retired, had his tag team match. Teaming with Darby to beat the Bucks of Youth at Revolution. And we really haven't seen either of them since. Darby's been around, doing his moves that, half the time he probably shouldn't be doing, hence why he's always hurt. But, hey, it's his body, not mine. So, yeah, Sting retired. They had over a month to build towards Dynasty, which was announced, I think, sometime late last year, early this year. And yeah, at this Dynasty event, which was a week and a half or so before the NFL draft, hence the thumbnail for this video with Tony Khan and the neck brace. One of the main things that happened at this show was the return to Jungle Boy, Jack Perry. The scapegoat, if you will. If you can recall from AEW All In, with CM Punk, that whole backstage thing that went down. Of course, Punk was then suspended, fired, returned to the WWE at Survivor Series. Jack Perry hadn't been seen since then. About double the time. Of course, still has long hair, grew his beard out. Seemingly perfect timing for a change in his gimmick from Jungle Boy to a real man. And we'll get into his return because it happened later on in the night, and then with what happened on Dynamite the following week. But also at AEW Dynasty. As Okada's in the company now, he is the AEW Continental Champion with Eddie Kingston on the shelf. He beat Pac. Had a 6-man tag trios match. House of Black defeated Edge. Eddie Kingston was in this match, but of course just prior had lost the title. And then Mark Briscoe, sort of a 6-man tag that was just for the hell of it put together. House Rules women's TBS title match. Willow beat Julia Hart to win the title. As mentioned, Roderick Strong beat Orange Cassidy at Revolution for the international championship. If he was in the WWE, as he once was, potentially, as I was about ready to say, the Intercontinental Championship, he'd have that. Doubt it. I don't know. I mean, he was an NXT, North American champ. But he defeated, speaking of WWE, a former Undisputed Era member of his in Kyle O'Reilly. As, from Adam Cole, who has been on the shelf with injury since last fall, to Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong. Of course, they all left, we all know that, WWE for AEW. They got rid of Bobby Fish. O'Reilly's been banged up. Roderick Strong with the neck brace, the mustache, even with Cole out, been holding down the fort. So there's that. Jericho became the FTW champion, beating Hook in what was a little surprising to say the least. But now Hook learning under the tree. You had Toni Storm retain again. She defeated Thunder Rosa, who finally came back after being out for a long-ass time. Ospreay and Danielson might have had the match of the year in April. They about killed each other in that banger, as the last 3 matches were just banger, 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 as Sheamus would like to say. But that, I think, most definitely was the match of the night. Like I said, arguably could go down as match of the year for an April pay-per-view. Jungle Boy came back, like I said. Jack Perry came out of the crowd in a mask with his hooded sweatshirt as a scapegoat, helping the Young Bucks defeat FTR in the tournament final for the AEW World Tag Team titles, in which the match was a ladder match. So anything goes, no DQ. His interference was legal, and then sort of, join the elite. Of course, Kenny Omega's on the shelf. He'll be coming back. They teased him and Okada around this time too. I think it was a couple weeks after Dynasty, to be honest with you. It was early May, so a little over a month ago now. But anyways, you had Jack Perry help out the Young Bucks, and then that week on Dynamite, or was it the following week? It was one of those two. No, it would have been that Wednesday. Yeah, just look at a calendar. Because the NFL draft started that Thursday. It ran Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And Tony Khan, keeping kayfabe alive, sported a neck brace in the war room of the Jacksonville Jaguars, that Khan's own, of course. But he took Meltzer Driver from the Young Bucks after hugging it out with Jack Perry and then getting attacked by him and then Matthew Nicholas. So you had Tony get involved on screen for one of the first times in storyline in AEW. And it's just like I said, for Jack Perry, timing's everything. And I think they'd be smart eventually to put the world title on him. He just qualified for the TNT title match coming up at Forbidden Door. We'll get into that following Double or Nothing here, because there's, stuff to talk about there. But people have their moments, and looking back on it, sometimes the bad shit that happens to you turns out to be good for you in the long run. Whether you not necessarily learn from your mistakes or not, it's life. It rolls on. And time away, he's living the part, literally driving the short black school bus down the actual highway, which we'll get more into that in a minute as well. But scapegoat Jack Perry, rather than Jungle Boy, going back to their 4 pillars. They play the cards right, could be a fucking star for the company. Because MJF's number 1 for sure, but Jack Perry can be the probably second best homegrown talent for them if it works out. Dynasty main event was Samoa Joe defending his AEW World Heavyweight Championship against Swerve Strickland. Prince Nana was dancing around. Samoa Joe didn't dance enough and lost. And I don't think we've seen him since. Swerve Strickland's been champ, been holding it down ever since. Of course, this goes back to MJF winning the title at Full Gear in November 22. Held it for a good year, and then lost it to Samoa Joe. Took his time off. Contract-wise, is he, staying? Is he leaving? Well, MJF just returned. We'll get into that as that happened at Double or Nothing. But you go from MJF as world champ to Samoa Joe to Swerve Strickland. Swerve's the current champion. In the meantime, as mentioned, Double or Nothing was Memorial Day weekend. AEW celebrated their 5-year anniversary already. I know where the hell has time gone, but Anarchy in the Arena main evented, which that stole the show for sure. Speaking of Jack Perry, he got lit on fire. As mentioned at the start, Tony Khan still rolling down the ramp. But MJF returned at Double or Nothing. He's right now in a feud with Roosh. Eventually, I would think he's going to set his sights back on the World Championship. Just a matter of when. I think it'd be a no-brainer, put the fucking title back on MJF. They need to do him and Adam Cole. Title or not, they need to do it. So they might do it before, they might do it, during, hell, they might do it, after one of them has or doesn't have the title. What would make sense to me is, okay, Swerve's the champ. necessarily think you got to, backtrack and, Samoa Joe was just holding down the fort until they, built Swerve up. Joe's that vet, get the job done. Swerve had a championship match here in Christian Cage's first title defense, co-main event, and retained. Prince and Anna still dancing around, and they're able to beat just not Christian Cage, but everybody that he's got with him. And Father's Day this weekend, Christian Cage is going to have a Father's Day special on Collision, I guess, Saturday night. So we'll have to see how that goes. But he might say something about Luke Perry for all we know again. But anyways, what would be smart, they have Swerve either hold it for a while or sometime soon drop it back to MJF. They do Adam Cole then challenging MJF for the title, since they never did that because Cole got hurt. Or if they have Swerve hold it, they do Adam Cole MJF, by itself. They have somebody else go after the world title. Then eventually, somehow down the line, they get to that point. But I think you got to put the title, because MJF fucking sells. Like, he is AEW at this point. As are the Young Bucks, as are, when Omega's around, yes. Jericho's been that vet that's been holding the fort down. He says his learning tree gimmick he's doing right now is the best he's ever done, which is, somewhat surprising, but come full circle as, go back to Jack Perry. Eventually, like I said, I think it'll be his turn. They'll put the title on him. They do have Omega coming back. Like I said, they teased him in Okada. They could, put the AEW World Championship on Okada, for God's sakes. There's, of course, a lot they can do. Now, will they? Will they not? Of course, Danielson probably out of anybody on the roster deserves it with everything he's been through. But does he want it? Which I'm sure he does, but it just doesn't make sense, there's him. Ospreay's the one that, overall in the long run, could really work out. But you want to talk about homegrown talent, that's MJF, that's Jack Perry. I mean, where the hell, talk about the four pillars, if you will, of AEW a couple years ago. Where the hell is Sammy Guevara been at? Darby Allin's getting hurt all the damn time. Okay, they hit on half of it. It just took some time, but of course, just not this vet or this vet, because Moxley's still there. Edge, is there, but now he's hurt. Defeated Malachi, retaining his TNT title at Double or Nothing in a steel cage match, but ended up fucking up his foot, and he's going to be injured now for a while. So already got surgery. That's why they're going to have that's why they have a vacant TNT championship right now. That's why they're going to have a match for that title at Forbidden Door. So, okay, enough with, fantasy booking, but this is what happened now at Double or Nothing. Ospreay became international champion, defeating Roderick Strong. Put him up for the Bang Bang Gang. They, in the Trios title match, beat Death Triangle. Toni Storm on a magical run as the Women's World Champion, retaining her title again. You had Chuck Taylor semi-retire right now because of injury. It might be for good. Overall, we'll see. But from Best Friends to Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, they had a singles match at Double or Nothing. Seemingly was just done for the hell of it. Jericho as the FTW champ, still odd, no doubt about it. But it gives him a sort of reason or thing to do, but he's putting people over, and he has say on what he wants to do and what he doesn't want to do. As, for the most part, does everybody in AEW, but Jericho's towards the top. If you didn't know, he is. But yeah, triple threat FTW title match. Beat Hook, who's sort of now been lost ever since losing that title, because that's really all he ever had was that title. Even though, even with or without title, they haven't done shit with him. Even though he's popular. Shibata was also in that match. So next was the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Just a basic eliminator match. It wasn't a championship match. Just, hey, singles match, but had Takeshita won, he'd be getting a future title match. But he lost against Jon Moxley. As mentioned, TNT title was on the line. Adam Copeland, Edge, beat Malachi Black, but got injured in the process. They announced it that following week on Dynamite, just 2 weeks ago now, 2.5 weeks ago, whenever it was. And that's why I said they have a vacant title. They're going to have a match for that at Forbidden Door. We'll get into that shortly. Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné has been in the company now for about 3 months or so. Fans finally fucking turned on her, thank God. Finally realizing she's nothing special. She never was in WWE. She still ain't in AEW. If only I told you so then, I'm telling you so now again. Hey, welcome aboard. And even with all that being said, she beat Willow to become the new AEW Women's TBS champ. And then co-main event, main event of the evening, Swerve in his first title defense on pay-per-view beat Christian Cage. And then the main event was Anarchy in the Arena. You had Team AEW, which Eddie Kingston was supposed to be a part of, but got injured. So it ended up being Bryan Danielson, Darby Allin, and FTR. A lot of spots in this match. It was, Anarchy in the Arena, so Stadium Stampede indoors. Anything goes, no DQ. But the Elite, just too powerful with the Young Bucks, Matthew Nicholas Jackson, Okada, and Jack Perry, who got lit on fire, literally, in this match. Tony Khan rolled down the ramp. there's too much to go into fine detail that happened in that match. If you know, you know. It's one of those that just, if you didn't see it, go watch it, because it was awesome. So that was Double or Nothing. Forbidden Doors coming up 2 weeks from Sunday. Currently, right now, this is all still, subject to change. They're going to have a ladder match for the vacant TNT title. So, you got 3 people in it, 1 to be determined soon, plus 2 more. Those 2 more, who knows who they'll be. It's either going to be Dante Martin or Lee Moriarty in another spot. And then Mark Briscoe, Takeshita, and Jack Perry, who's probably going to be the odds-on favorite to win it. Just with how over he is. And hey, blame CM Punk, thank CM Punk. It's gotten Jack Perry to this point, and like I said, he's in a damn good spot. Mercedes is going to be in a winner-take-all championship match with whoever the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Champion is. That's still to be determined at this rate. Toni Storm's probably going to retain her AEW Women's World Championship as well, as she has the past few pay-per-views. You'll have Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy in a singles match, 1-on-1. Jon Moxley is going to defend the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Naito. Jeff Cobb's also going to defend the New Japan Pro Wrestling World Television Championship against a to-be-announced, to-be-determined opponent. And then the AEW World Championship, you'll have Swerve defend against Will Ospreay. So, see what happens. Of course, once again on my end, we get the job done. Just doesn't point in time, don't know when, that occurs. But yeah, coming up, since we missed, watching these live. I watched them live. I just didn't stream them live. That's the thing. And that's even the case for WWE, from attending one and going to be attending another. And then the timing, when they've had these overseas pay-per-views, including this Saturday. We won't watch Clash of Castle live Saturday at whatever time it fucking starts, 1, 2 o'clock this Saturday afternoon. It'll be sometime probably next week, to be honest with you. So yeah, there's that. Money in the Bank will be live, as will Forbidden Door for the most part. I'll be at SummerSlam again this year as I was last year. And then, like I said, getting in the fall, we'll see what the schedule, shakes out. But, yeah, WWE's got Clash of the Castle on Saturday. I would think 3 of the matches are going to be good. Yeah. Probably going to be pretty predictable, though, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens. But I've talked about what I think is going to happen there already before, recently. That would be in the WWE King of the Ring live stream that we watched, I believe, the day after that show, which was actually, or maybe it was 2 days after that show, whenever I sat down and talked about that. Because it was also around when Double or Nothing had happened, and then just one thing after another. once again. It's just the timing to watch and talk about these live. Just hasn't been there on my end as it normally is. So once again, I apologize. But be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, schedule coming up. Really, I mean, think about it now. We're on the back end, final couple holes of not being able to, do it live as we normally do. Because it was one after another. It's like, come on, man. But it's just the way it was. Nothing I can do, out of my control. But coming up, really, like I said, well, it'll be like the next last one, but because Bash, end of August, will be the same as what it will be this weekend. Won't be watching either of those live. So just be sure to subscribe, tune back in then when I do watch them live, whenever that might be. Yes, WWS Clash of the Castle Saturday. 2 weeks from Sunday, AEW Forbidden Door. We'll be watching that. WWE Money in the Bank's the following weekend. Hopefully everyone has a happy 4th of July in the meantime. As that'll be middle of that week. And then, like I said, AEW announced Blood and Guts for mid to late July. I'll be at SummerSlam again. And then late August, AEW will have All In. WWE will have the Bash in Berlin, Germany. All In's a yes to watch it live, probably. Bash, I can tell you that's a no for sure, like this Saturday. And then, end of football season, but AEW All Out, like I said, Wrestle Dream, Full Gear and World's End, WWE from Clash Now to Money in the Bank to SummerSlam to Bash to, well, nothing after that until Crown Jewel. There'll be something late September, early October, though. They just haven't announced anything yet. And then, of course, Survivor Series, and then we'll see about, as I've talked about before, potentially something before or after Christmas. For the most part, you would think more so probably New Year's. But then Monday Night Raw is going to Netflix. SmackDown's going to USA. So they might have, a big show for that. Royal Rumble might be pushed back just because WrestleMania is now mid to late April compared to when it normally is in late March, early April. So, of course, they'll have, pay-per-view, I would think, late February, early March. Whether that's, Fastlane, Elimination Chamber, who the hell knows. But, yeah, I guess that's about it. So, almost doubled the time for, I was planning on sitting down and talking about this, but I don't really care. I'll sit here and talk all night if I wanted to. That's what, somebody will ask me, well, how long is your stream for? Well, estimated going to be however long the show is, but then I might sit down and talk for a half hour before, I might sit down and talk for a half hour after, so another hour or two, like, I got it, and got it back under control, got it on par now with where I want it to be again, I guess you could say. Try, of course, not to get behind, but hey, like I said, once again, doesn't matter how you get there, it's just as long as you get there. So I'll leave it at that. So yeah, thanks for tuning in and listening. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below.